Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Brewed for Business Traveling Podcast, where I interview local business owners, just get to give you guys a chance to get to know them. And today I am at the Alley Cat Coffee Shop in Fort Collins. And guys, if you have not been here yet, it's a super cute place. There's local artwork all over. The roof tiles of the coffee shop is all covered in local art. And there's art on the walls that you can purchase. They also do a trivia night on Friday nights, I think. So definitely come check them out. Super cute place and lots of seating if you're a remote worker. A lot of place to work from. Hopefully we're not interrupting anyone's work today. I'm excited for you guys to meet my guests today. I'm here with Heather Reid with Silver and Gold Estate Sales. And we're going to get into all the things and what she does and how she got into it. And I'm excited for you guys to get to know. So without further ado, Heather, cheers to an awesome episode. Great coffee.
So
yes. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to get into this. I personally love repurposing all things, right? I feel like there's like an energy exchange between someone just like throwing something away and like someone being able to like take that and then it turns into like a little treasure for themselves. So I love that.
Yeah, things and their usefulness are a cycle in this world, and you can love something and not have a use for it and pass it on to someone else that can have a use for it and a love for it. And that's really part of the passion behind what I do.
I love that. We'll get more into details of that in a little bit here. But so where are you originally from?
I originally grew up in Sacramento, just
Nice.
right outside the city in the northern suburbs. So very much a northern Colorado girl. My parents were very much of the hippie vibe.
Yeah.
And so
It does tend to attract.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were recycling, reusing, and mending things way back in the 80s and 90s when that just wasn't like common in our culture. But it's part of the family ethos I came from.
I love that. What did your parents do?
My dad was in construction and my mom stayed home. There were 6 of us total. So she stayed home and raised us and
It's a big family.
kept us on a budget. And so
You
that
have
was
to
part
with
of it.
6 kids.
Yeah, it was a job in itself.
Yeah, but talk about like usefulness, like your father being in construction, so that rebuilding or fixing
Yes.
and repurposing,
Dragging home construction materials to build us a playhouse or fix things. And, he was also a big history lover. So we spent a lot of time stopping at every roadside sign that you could read or every local
the
museum.
historic landmarks and the.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, what was the favorite thing that he built for you guys growing up?
He built us a full-on clubhouse on stilts.
That's awesome.
It was about a little one-room house, 4 feet in the air, but because he had construction knowledge, everything worked like a little house. So like the windows and the roof and the doors, it was our own
Yeah.
little playground in the backyard.
That must have been awesome.
It was very cool.
Yeah, I've seen, the different levels of tree houses built. I mean, as a kid, like even a platform in a tree would have been really cool, but like to have your own like full blown like clubhouse that you have to yourselves as kids is awesome.
It was a lot of fun. And it was nice for my mom having 6 of us. There was a great place to send us out back.
What's the split? Is it girl, like half and half girl boy, or?
So it's my siblings and I, there's 3 girls and a boy, but then my dad also had 2 younger siblings that were my age and my younger sister's age, and they lived with us for about 5 years through middle school and half of high school. So 5 girls and 1 boy.
Oh my gosh.
In
Your
a
poor brother.
3-bedroom house. So it was a tight squeeze, but
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you one of the oldest or the youngest?
I'm smack right in the middle.
Nice.
Yeah,
Middle child.
Right, typical middle child.
Me
yeah.
too.
Okay.
We're the best.
I find
little
this to be
biased.
more empathetic personally when you're stuck right in the middle.
Right. And I never really considered that might be part of what it is, but I know myself, I am very empathetic, but same thing, because you're kind of sensitive to the older sibling and younger sibling and trying to
bridge those relationships and conflicts.
Yeah, and the amount of times that I was actually called to do that, you know, my brother and my sister would come up to me and be like, okay, we need you to petition mom and dad. Like, this is what we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
This is what we want.
Yeah.
Are you close with your siblings?
Not as much as I'd like to be. We're all pretty spread out now, I think, in this generation. That's how it is. But we all live in different states. We try to keep up with each other, but I think social media almost makes it harder to keep up in depth.
And almost too easy.
It's so easy to just send off a little hi, how are you? And that substitutes for a conversation that maybe used to be a longer phone conversation.
Because we feel like we're kind of staying in touch because we're seeing whatever they're posting about and whatever they're up to.
That's it.
But you haven't actually I feel the same.
Yeah, you know what they're up to, but you're not always carrying on those personal relationships with the same amount of time. But we've also all hit that later middle-aged stage of life where our kids are all almost grown, and every single one of us is kind of off doing our own project or adventure or second half of life kind of thing.
And as you know, as all of the kids get older too, and then it becomes that much more difficult to get everybody together because then the kids are doing their own thing, the siblings are doing their own thing, and you know, and trying to get everybody together for an event, especially if you don't live in the same area. I feel the same. I live in Florida, and my brother lives in Washington D.C. My sister lives in Maryland. So the only time I really see them is one of us has to make a trip. Somewhere, right? And so then it's like, then it depends on schedules and what everyone is doing,
and it's usually centered around some things and
some event or a holiday or something is kind of like when you can corral everyone together. Now, does your husband have a lot of siblings as well?
He has a brother and a sister, and they're very close. His parents live here in Fort Collins.
Nice.
His brother and sister are right down in Denver, but they stay close. We get together at least once a month for birthdays or holidays or just dinner. And my mother-in-law started this great tradition where she spends one afternoon a week with each of the grandkids. So every Thursday is my youngest daughter's, every Friday is my older daughter, and they get some one-on-one time. So generationally, they've got like a really strong bond.
That's beautiful. I love that. My son right now lives with my parents down in Florida, so they have that really close.
I think it's important to have that intergenerational influence, and I think it also helps them understand their parents a little better when they know their parents.
Yeah, see where we come from.
Yeah.
A lot of things are explanatory.
Yeah, I think a great way to understand somebody is to meet their parents and understand them.
That's true. And how many kids do you have?
I have two girls. My youngest just finished her junior year in high school. Awesome. And then my oldest just finished her freshman year here at CSU.
Nice. So is your youngest also planning on staying local for college as well?
Yeah, my youngest is not a planner, so we'll see. She's more of a decide in the moment and go with it kind of girl. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think my oldest has been planning on going to CSU since 5th grade. It was just a...
That was the,
Yeah, that was the goal. Kids, right? They're always... You can't have two kids exactly alike no matter how many kids you have, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. Even between me and my sister is the planner. I am not a planner. You know, she'll call me or message me like January, like, what are you doing for Christmas this year? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing next week or next month. You know, definitely no clue what's going on for Christmas, which is cute. But I do love that. And so it sounds like you guys are all, you know, as close as you can be.
Yeah.
Especially with the distance.
It's as you get older, you have to put in the work, but my parents luckily are still with me, so I want to make sure we get all the time we can.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And so with the inner relationships and stuff of like the intergenerational relationships, has that always made you more aware of, you know, like treasures and trinkets and things like that people keep and like pass down like generations? Is that a little bit of how you got into
it? Is and surprisingly, it's because my family didn't have those intergenerational treasures. One from Ireland and one from Scotland, and my mother's parents, her mom was born literally on the boat on the way from Italy, and her father grew up in an orphanage. His parents had both died of Spanish flu, which was common at the time.
Yeah.
So as a kid, it always kind of bothered me that I knew kids that knew their great-grandparents or had things passed down. My grandparents didn't have things passed down to them. Consequently, they didn't understand the importance of that and pass anything down to us. So I felt like as a kid, I missed out on that opportunity of having access to cool old things.
So whenever with a story like connected to your family,
and on top of that, having a modest income with a lot of kids. My parents, especially during the 80s when it was popular to buy brand new things on high dollar with big labels, they really encouraged us to let go of a lot of those expectations and start thrifting and embracing your own style. Or I, at one point, bought an old sewing machine and started teaching myself how to sew because it was much cooler to find old clothes and make them fit me than it was to find the same thing everyone else at school had. So I kind of really embraced that reuse idea long before it was something that people are commonly talking about. And it's one of the things I love the most about the younger generations now, because that is just an unspoken value to them, I feel like.
And the thrifting seems to have like grown so much in popularity in like the last couple of years now.
It has. You get a lot of resellers who are not only picking things up for, the eBay resale value, but we get a lot of people that are sharing treasures, really embracing older things, or the idea that these older things are already out here. You don't have to go to the Target and buy a brand new set of glassware. There's all these cool old designs that already exist you can have access to.
Right. At a fraction of the cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of tell people, for years I was in booth resales. I had a lot of different antique malls and cute vintage boutique booths. And I'd have a lot of people that would come to me to sell sets of china because that was a big thing for previous generations. And I have to tell them that the secret now is to take all of those beautiful one-of-a-kind single sets and I mix them up and I match them into mix and match sets of china. And that is emotionally easier to embrace for a lot of the younger people.
Interesting.
The idea of not having to take on the responsibility of a full match set, and if you break something, it's incomplete now. It's more of a curated feel to their homes, their belongings, even down to their sets of china.
What a great idea. I had never considered that, because I see, you see sets of china in every thrift store you can possibly think of. They always have at least one.
And the nature of collecting has changed. My grandmother had her Depression glass pattern and color, and she wanted every single piece of that color and pattern, and it was a major hobby in her life. And I think that we're really seeing more of the rise of social media, people going into thrift stores and just embracing what they find on the shelf for the beauty of the object or the usefulness of the object, and then finding a way to incorporate that into their life without the burden of overwhelming ownership of a collection.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen a lot of the repurposing on social media, especially with people bringing either like you were doing with clothes, right? Making a clothes fit, or taking an old curtain or a piece of fabric or tapestry or something and turning that into a new item. I love watching that. Even if you're making pillows, whatever, right? It's beautiful to see those pieces kind of carry through in a different form.
Yes, and to see some of those styles come back in unexpected ways. Urban streetwear designers that are using things that my grandmother would have used as a bed sheet or a wall hanging. And so not just unexpected, but that unexpected style being pulled out of the past and being applied to different areas. I guess the best way to describe it is those old granny looking things are coming back in, but not for grannies. They're coming back in for young urban people, and it's just a really great way to see style come back into use.
Yeah, I love that. Myself, like I've always been into thrifting. Also, I grew up with an older sibling and a younger sibling, and we were. My mom was always, conscious of our budget and stuff. So, like, yeah, we wanted all of the things, and so thrifting was kind of like the first place we'd go. And the amount of things that we'd see, like, from like decorative pieces that I would have never been able to like purchase as a 12-year-old, on my own, but it made it like reasonable being like in the thrift store or like the clothes options and things like that. Like it was always great. And so I kind of continued that as I grew up. Like every time that I wanted new things, like I would always do like garage sales.
Yeah.
Right. So like that way, then I could like then resell the things that I found, like kind of do my own little mini thrift store. Right. And I always love that exchange of like just watching something like go to a good home, a piece that I might have really truly loved but just no longer serve the purpose, and then to watch it like bring joy to somebody else. It's really, 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 really special.
It is, and there's an emotional component to it. I've helped a lot of people pass items on to new homes, and most of the time people are a lot more relieved that their items that they felt responsibility for, or as a caretaker that someone else passed on to them, their goal a lot of times isn't the financial exchange behind it. It's the idea of passing that item on to a future caretaker, feeling like they fulfilled the responsibility of that item going on to a new home and maintaining the value for someone else.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now you mentioned you were doing like booth sales. So what's involved with that and how'd you get into that?
Yeah, so it was a journey of thrifting. I'm a yard sale freak.
Yard sale junkies.
Yeah, I can't resist a good one. So when my kids were little and I was staying home with them, I would, I got back into that, thrift store ethos of buying things cheap. Kids' clothes, they go through so fast, there's never a reason to buy them new.
Yeah.
And I started buying clothes, and I realized that if I got a little tiny closet and a little tiny resale store, I could resell some of the extra things I found. And that 2x2 little area grew to eventually 4 different booths in 4 different well-known antique malls throughout the Front Range area.
Okay.
And
so did it start as a form of like a consignment style?
Yeah, consignment style in one little area.
Okay.
And then you rent a booth at one place and you rent a booth at another place. And then by then you're working in, maybe an 8x10 area. And so I had, you'd have a theme in each one. I had a little boho booth. And then when the 90s clothing became very popular, I leaned into a lot of the vintage clothing market here in Old Town Fort Collins. And that was really fun. Finding things that made me feel nostalgic for when I was young, but then watching the younger people and seeing what parts of that they gravitated towards didn't always match up with what you would expect.
Never thought bell bottoms would come back. Listen.
No, and sometimes the things that would have been popular with young people in the 80s or 90s are not the things that young people are drawn to. It's maybe some of the things that your older people were wearing in this generation. So just trying to guess at what they might like was kind of fun when you're hunting down thrift treasures, imagining the happiness somebody else is going to find in finding that treasure in your booth was a big part of it for me.
I love that. My son right now, he's 21. But he loves like the old man like cardigans. So like we thrift all the time, and like he's finding all kinds of things, and he's walking around. And I even have a picture of like a cardigan that my dad has, who's had like for the longest time, and like my son wearing something that he just recently purchased, and like I swear they match the style. But it is interesting. Like he loves that. He's also working on a show. He's an artist, a digital artist, and he's working on a short film. And like the short film is set in like the 90s period, so he was like asking all these questions of like what were they wearing, right? And then like so a lot of the stuff that I had to like look up, and I'm like, oh yeah, windbreakers like everywhere. Everyone was wearing like the matching like full outfit, right? Like windbreakers or like the cars. and the music back then. So it's interesting to go through that like nostalgia and to see that like now, because he's researched it, he's like, this is cool. I want to wear this stuff. So like his whole wardrobe has changed kind of in that direction too. I love it.
I love that. They're embracing their style by discovering older styles.
Yeah.
And it's moving so much faster. You know, what was popular just a few years ago is moving in. There was a while where 80s and 90s were very popular. Now I find a lot of young people that are coming to me asking for Y2K era. We're getting, it's gone from the mom jeans into the 2-inch zipper jeans, I like to call it. Everybody's looking for like hip hugging pants and baby doll tees. So, I think it was always fun to kind of hunt for some of that, and then I would resell it and I'd make a little side money. And as a young mom, it was a great way to feel like I was contributing to my family.
Yeah.
It also felt like I was starting a warehouse inside my house, which was probably the downside.
It's hard to say no to the things when you start to pick up on like what people are into and the trends and all that.
There's a lot of work behind the scenes that go into it when you haul things home, and you have to clean them, sometimes mend them. You have to wait for the right buyer and the right size to fall in love with it at the right price. And so sometimes it was a lot more fun to source inventory than it was to always get the inventory sold. So we became a bit of a warehouse of other people's old things, which I don't always recommend, but it definitely led me into the idea of being more of the middle person. I was just meeting a lot of older people. I would go to buy things from them, and what they really needed was somebody to buy a lot of things from them, but not everything. So there was a big hole in the market where people weren't looking to have a full estate sale. They hadn't passed. They didn't want to sell every cup and spoon in their home, but they really wanted to downsize.
Yeah.
And for the older generation,
doing a garage sale is just not an option.
It's not an option.
It's a lot of work.
Something they're comfortable with. A lot of times they're aware of eBay and the value of things on the internet, so they sometimes aren't comfortable setting yard sale prices and letting things go, knowing that, if I look this up on eBay, it says I could get a lot more.
Right. Or even figuring it out how to put it on eBay.
Yeah, or figuring out what it is you really have in a market full of like reproductions. More often than not, I was having to turn people down because I didn't have the capacity or the ability to invest that much. And I really discovered that there was a need in the market for more people that could help those folks downsize those items without necessarily taking everything straight to the Goodwill.
Yeah.
And in that space, there was a market that was opening up in online estate sales. And about 10 years ago, they started becoming very popular online. A lot of single resellers have their own, and a lot of estate sale companies started to utilize nationwide platforms. And there are a few popular ones that started dominating the marketplace. And I was a shopper on the platforms already, sourcing inventory for myself, and it seemed like a natural progression to just roll into that space and start an estate sale business of my own to help all these folks I was meeting actually find homes for those items in a way that was profitable for everyone involved.
Yeah, because before that point, everything that you were purchasing would be stored at your house until you went to a booth or something at a local thrift store. Okay.
Yes, until I could actually fit it into the booth space that I was renting, it was living in my house as the warehouse, and I was having to financially invest in all of those items as well. Yeah. So it became quite a financial output to basically take a gamble on what might sell.
Has your husband always been supportive of your resale business?
He is supportive of the resale business when it's not taking up floor space in our home or his garage.
Was there moments when you were collecting all these things that he was like, honey?
There definitely was that moment. There definitely was what we would call a come to Jesus moment about like, this to grow.
Right.
And that's always been my ambition. Staying home and raising my children was always a trade-off with the idea that I then have time in the future to focus on building something of my own. I've come from a background of working in a lot of small businesses. I've built many small businesses for other people who have gone on to take them to bigger levels, and I really wanted to be a part of doing something like that for myself.
Yeah.
And it's been a great opportunity to be able to do that. And it's a great opportunity for me to again bridge generations, because it is a new idea in the marketplace. Everybody's really used to the traditional idea of a garage sale or an estate sale where you advertise it and you drive around, you look for the signs and you go in and you hope that things are priced at a bargain, and the clients hope that I've priced things not at too much of a bargain.
Right.
And you hope to sell enough that you aren't left with half of the items still in the home at the end.
It's a lot of hope.
You hope that the weather holds out.
Oh gosh, yes.
But the new...
I've been rained out of a couple garage sales.
You hope that you don't go and wait 3 hours before the sale opens up just to watch the one guy in front of you get the one thing that you came for.
Right.
And so the new model of estate sales going online has really changed that. A lot of the major companies are using it because they're discovering that when you can pull 200, 300, 400 people to your auction and everyone is watching that item go by and they're all getting a chance to bid on it, you're not depending on me to price your item.
Yeah.
The market is
Decides
pricing
it.
your item.
So how do those online estate sales work?
So we do everything from a full house down to just consignment of a few items.
Okay.
We photograph everything in the auction and we list it. We disclose any damage that it may have, which usually is not a lot or we wouldn't be listing it. But we like to let you know about any imperfections, and you get multiple photos. And then it goes up into an online estate sale on a platform we utilize called Auction Ninja. It's very popular here in Colorado, this platform. So that's what we use. And it basically runs for 7 days, like a short-term eBay. Everybody has a chance to set reminders or put in early bidding.
Yeah.
Then on a Thursday evening, the auction lots start closing one at a time, and you have a chance to bid on all approximately 500 lots in the auction.
Okay.
In our auctions, everything starts at no reserve, and it's a progressive bid. So if you're bidding on an item and you're the only person to bid, say you place a $20 authorized for bid, and nobody bids against you, you get that item for $1 regardless of the value of the item. So there's incentive for shoppers to shop the auctions, because if you're the only one interested in the item, you can get a deal. And if you're a reseller, we have a lot of eBay resellers that shop with us, and they go through and put a moderate $1 to $5 bid on every item they're interested in, and then they just wait to see if they're outbid on anything.
Nice. So the bid progresses over the week. So
it does.
You bid during the week, and then you get notified, I'm assuming, if someone bids higher than yours and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And then by the end of the week, it's the highest bid. So presuming the seventh day, as things are closing, is when there's a little chaos happening.
Yes, exactly. We like to tell our clients that just wait, because about 90% of the bidding will happen in that last hour before the item closes. The nice thing is, unlike eBay and some of the websites where sniping software can be used, it has what's called a soft close. So in the last 5 minutes of the item closing, if anyone were to place a new bid on that item, it automatically extends the close time by 5 minutes.
Okay, so
And
it gives you the time so that no one's trying to get in there.
Yeah, it gives it plenty of time so that everybody has at least 5 minutes to come back and make their highest bid. And it's a fair way of doing it, and it prevents a lot of those utilized softwares that people have used to kind of come in and undercut eBay pricing at the last minute.
And I didn't know that existed. So I'm not a big auction. I don't attend auctions. I was trying to find the word.
Yeah.
But so there's softwares now. So what people are using like third-party software to like keep an eye on the bid? Is that
Yes,
what's going
exactly. There's
Okay.
third-party softwares where you can have them basically watching an item on eBay closing, and it will go in at the very last, like hundredth of a second, literally, and place in the most moderate bid it can in order
Just to go-
still win.
Wow.
It doesn't give people the chance to come in and establish a higher bid if they're willing to.
Right.
The way our software works, not only does it send you a text reminder directly to your phone 10 minutes before any item you are interested in is closing to remind you to come back and check it out, but it gives you that soft close and the opportunity to come back in and make your best bid.
Right.
That way the guy that came in front of you and bid right in front of you isn't taking your item home. If you're willing to spend $1 more, then you get to go home with it.
Yeah.
And the best part of it is you're doing all of this on your couch in your PJs from the comfort of your home. The weather doesn't matter, and the fact that you work on the weekends is not a problem. You know, all of those things that traditionally kept people from being able to do yard sales and estate sales are gone. You shop, you buy your items. When the auction closes, all of your purchases are automatically run to your credit card on file through a secure Stripe processor. And then you come 2 days later on Saturday and you roll up and you give me your name and I say, great to meet you, Susan. Here's all of the items that you bought.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes later, you're in your car and on your way home.
Nice. So presumably people can only bid if they're local.
We do shipping
you do
as
ship
well.
as
Yeah,
well.
we
Okay.
do definitely about 10% of every auction that we sell is a shipping order.
Okay. So,
So
it
we
is
definitely offer
anywhere in the United States that
Yeah.
people can check.
And we keep it reasonable. There are some auction houses where they add that on as another money-making service. But we are not in the business of trying to...
Squeeze every dollar out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't want your arm and your leg just to get you the items that you've purchased already. So we have a pretty fair rate so that we keep that available.
That's awesome. And so how did you transition from the booth sales into the online sales?
I was my first customer. My first 2 auctions and my learning curve were all selling the inventory that I had in various booths. So I was able to learn a lot and maybe make some mistakes on my own dime the first few times.
Yeah.
But we're on auction 78 now.
Awesome.
We've been going now for 4 years. I hired my first actual employee
Congratulations.
this year. So we've had
Big
a lot
deal.
of growth.
Yeah.
We
You have a
went,
big warehouse now?
we went from working in a storage unit outside in the weather to now having a location, an in-place location where folks can bring us consignment items. So if you have 1 item, if you have 100 items, if you have a garage full of items and you just want it gone, we can bring that to our location and process that from our location in a secure place that's secure for your items and secure for my people.
Yeah. Do you have, can the public go and like view the items that you have? Like, do you have like a store?
No, traditionally we don't do any sort of viewing.
Okay, so it's all online.
It is just because we process everything and we photograph it and then we pre-package it and get it ready for pickup right then, so that the day between the auction closing and you picking up, we go through with every invoice and we're able to pull items by item number and create an invoice and get you all the items. So
That's awesome.
we have a very exacting process.
That's good.
Yeah.
You've built it over the last, 4 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure bringing on a new person was a little easier too, which once you have the systems in place, to just kind of put her in the flow.
Yeah. She was able to slide right in, and with just minimal training, it's actually been. It was scary at first to let go of some of the things that which I think a lot of small business owners can really relate to
because
that.
it's your baby.
And
you grew it.
you get a lot of mixed messaging about if you can't train someone else to do what you do, you can't grow by defect. But also there's a lot of fear around growing too fast, and committing to paying someone else's paycheck can be a scary leap of faith sometimes.
100%, yes.
So that's been a big one for us, but really exciting.
Yeah. And it is challenging as a business owner to know like that, where that line is, whether the capacity. So I do a lot with clientele, and they're always talking about like, oh, there's all these agencies out there that promise leads and leads and leads and leads. And I'm like, okay, great. But if I were to send you 100 leads, like, do you have even the capacity to handle that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people don't consider capacity. Everyone's not everyone, but I feel like it's a kind of a society situation where we're always kind of like pushing for like the next sale, like what's your goal, like where are you trying to get to, and it's kind of like the constant like hustle and the grind sometimes takes you away from that, like what can I actually handle, and to build it well, to then move to the next stage.
Yes. I honestly, at this point, I'm doing more marketing surrounding bringing buyers in.
Perfect.
And teaching buyers that this avenue is available, introducing people to Auction Ninja and how the online auctions work. Both younger people and older people are really learning the technology and how to embrace it. And I haven't had a lot of trouble finding clients with items to sell. And I say it almost unfortunately, because it's just a sign of how many people are out there at an older age that have gathered up so many items into their home. Yeah. There really has been a culture of consumption in some of the older generations, and now they're needing to physically downsize their living situation, financially, just space-wise, sometimes medically. And there's more than enough stuff out there that needs new homes. Like that, unfortunately, isn't the problem in our culture. So I get to spend a lot of time marketing to people and letting them know about this really cool new avenue of being able to recycle those items.
Yeah. And how do you normally find the people that you're reaching out to and educating on this?
Most of it's been social media conversations with a lot of different people. A lot of it is neighbors, especially the older generation. When we go into a neighborhood and we start working in a home, we have a lot of curiosity surrounding what we're doing, what it's going to be like. And when we tell them it won't be their traditional estate sale, they're expecting that they'll get to shop in. It gives me the opportunity to kind of inform them about the services I can offer them, the way that they can shop these new kinds of sales and what that looks like. And just the ability to, I guess you would say, to see what's out there, right? And once you see a few of these sales, you start to learn the things that maybe you don't want to invest in the future. Like there's a few things I tell people never ever to buy new anymore. Every single sale that I'm in has at least 2 printers. The amount of printers that we're buying as a society is truly alarming, and almost all of them go into the dump. They have very short lifespans, and so if you can buy a used printer and used printer cartridges, it is infinitely cheaper than going out and buying a new printer, and they're everywhere. Yeah. I'd say the same with beds. Headboards and bed frames aren't something that wear out, and the quality ones from the 40s all the way through now are still out there, whereas a new bed frame is prohibitively expensive a lot of times. A nice headboard. Couches are out there, nice couches, designer couches that go to the dump every single day.
Because people don't know what to do with them.
That's exactly it. So big items, small items, there's a larger percentage of older people looking for homes for their items than there are younger people looking to fill homes.
Yeah, so it's like both sides. You have to like educate both. Be like, hey, there are other options out there.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. And so for when people like work with you, is it, when you're saying like the estate sale, is it by like the person? Like say like if I had a lot of things that I wanted to sell, I contact you, you come in and you photograph all of the things. Does that auction then go just for the items that I've done? Or you kind of have consistent auctions going up, different pieces from different people.
And it totally depends on what your needs are as a client. We're able to stay flexible with like that. If you have a full house full of items for sale, then the whole sale might consist of your items.
Okay.
But if you only had a few items for sale, and at that point you would bring them to us at our physical location, and we have the ability through the software, once we photograph that item and assign it an item number, it's also assigned a client ownership.
Okay.
So the last auction that we did, it was a consignment auction. We had about 13 different consigners bring us a various number of items. Once we hit 500 items, we started the auction and ran it. And the software gives me the ability to just run a quick report at the end that tells me exactly what I owe to each consigner.
Nice.
Very simply. So you can bring me any amount of items you have, and you can do it consistently over time. You don't have to wait until you have every single thing you want to get rid of or sell.
Yeah, as
ready.
you clear one area of your house or something, then you can bring in those pieces as needed.
Yeah, build a pile in your garage. Give me a call. I'll come load up my van and take it away. We'll work on that. And then as items sell, it's a pretty easy split. We just split the profit with you. Whatever the item sells for, you keep 60%.
Nice.
And we take 40. We don't charge you any upfront fees or after costs associated with that, because we want you to truly know that we're doing our best to advertise the sale, drive buyers to that sale. So if we don't sell the item for a good price, then we don't get paid a good price. So we have that incentive.
Or if the items don't sell, then you end up, with more stuff in your warehouse than you need to have.
Exactly. And that we're splitting at that point, we're splitting some of the burden with you.
Yeah.
And the great thing is unlike traditional estate sales where 20 to 30% or more sometimes of the items would be left over, because it's a progressive bid and everything starts at $1, we're often not left with anything at the end of the sale, because truly for $1 there's not a lot of things that aren't a bargain enough.
Right. It's like worth it if you even bother to look and if it kind of appeals to you.
And there's a ton of buyers looking for different things. Like when I'm shopping these auctions, I'm a glass girl. I'm looking for antique glass. I'm not looking outside of that wheelhouse. But some folks really are looking for anything you would sell at a normal yard sale. So sometimes the photo is just, here's the wall of every chemical cleaner, scrubber, and car kit in the garage. You buy this, you take it all. And there are people that really love that. They love the idea of, oh, okay, I'll come in and take all of your half-filled bottles of garage items or cleaning products. That's an easy win for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it reminded me of people that do like the mystery boxes now too. Like someone will just pay $4,000 for a mystery box and, you kind of like guess, or the unopened packages, kind of the same thing. I think people love that. Well, number one, that bulk purchase of like, hey, you don't know what you might have. You don't know, what might be there. What's the range of, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying for that $1 opening bid, you can take a risk on just like, hey, let's, maybe it'll be worth a lot. Maybe it won't, but we can take a risk and there's no downside other than bringing it home with us.
Yeah. Love that. What's the range of items that you can help people sell?
Oh, literally every range of items. We've done everything from high-end real jewelry all the way down to, again, the items in your garage and the leftover cleaning products. Anything that you'd normally see selling at an estate sale, we'll take a whack at selling it. We'll put it up. As we like to say, let's let the buyers decide. Because when you have 300 folks watching auction items close, that really is the best indication for us of if your item has any value in the marketplace, or if we're okay to go ahead and just donate that and pass it on to a thrift store or some other avenue.
Right. Yeah. So if it's something that's not gonna sell well, then you would.
There are very few items that we won't sell, usually linens and anything that's stained, unusable, anything that you wouldn't want to show up and have spent money on. We're not going to put up. We're not trying to fool people into spending money on things. Part of what we pride ourselves on is really being forward in our disclosures about the state of the item, and making sure that we're always presenting quality items to our buyers, especially since we've had so many folks that return and buy with us in every auction.
Yeah, returning customers. You definitely want to keep everybody happy. So those items that don't fit your quality control, then you donate those to the
with the permission of the consignor. We usually go over with them why we can't accept or resell something, and then those items get donated or passed on. Most of the time, the only things we can't sell are items that you probably wouldn't want to buy, or items that are, just illegal to resell on a reselling platform. Guns, weapons, lawn darts, funny things like that.
I was going to say, what is the oddest thing that you've ever
okay. We had one gentleman, and his neighbors knew him as a very buttoned down attorney, very by the book, quiet, and kept to himself. And we knew him as a very different individual, because when you went into the bottom floor of his house, he had a lot of esoteric healing modalities from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond.
Yeah.
So lots of violet ray tubes, lots of meditation lamps. But the best one was he had something called a psychic meditator.
Okay.
And it was quite large, almost the size of an old film projector. And it was basically a large metal box with a gigantic light bulb inside and different colored glass slides that you would put in. And depending on the combination of glass slides, it was supposed to enhance you energetically as you meditated, staring into this box.
I didn't even know they had such a thing.
It was interesting, because we today think of some of our natural and holistic healing practices as being something very new and relevant to this time period. But apparently during the 20s and 30s, there was an ongoing health craze revolution where a lot of these, even some of these products we're using today, like you can still buy the violet ray tubes today, and they sell them as a product for hair growth and skin improvement. Whether they work or not, whether they're just fancy snake oil or not, I don't know. But
listen, if they've been around since the 20s, there's got to be something to it.
It was interesting, and not only just because the items themselves were very unique, but to see the dichotomy between the person that the owner presented to the outside world and the person that we really are in our homes, and the things that we really love and collect and bring us joy. You could tell these items meant a tremendous amount to him. And I just thought that was really neat, and to be able to find those items, to show them to other people and be like, how cool is this?
Right.
Wouldn't you love to have this? To see a bunch of people get really excited and battle each other out for the privilege of taking that home and having their turn at being the caretaker for it is just as much fun.
That's beautiful. When you find super unique items like that, like, do you do like a separate post about it, like on your socials, or you just,
we try to highlight some of the things that
coming
are
up
unusual, something you're not going to walk into the thrift store and find. We try to lean into the trends too. Uranium glass is a big one for us right now. All the kids are collecting the glowing glassware, which, as a glass collector in my heart, that's really fun for me to see. The hen-on nests and the fairy lamps that have become very popular were things that previously I would see at yard sales 10 years ago, and I would expect them to go for $1, and I'd never expect to find a home. To see them now become so popular that they're going for hundreds of dollars a piece, it kind of tickles me to no end, because it's like watching a new generation discover a book you loved or a movie that meant a lot to you. It's more than just them loving something you love. It's carrying that love onto a new crowd or generation or audience.
Yeah, I love that. And it is interesting to see like the trends that, circle back, or the ones that are, that they come and go.
They do.
So it is super interesting to see like what people are into, at all given times.
And I like to tell people nostalgia is the number one driver of the bidding. We have more people that bid high on items because that's the beautiful thing about the bidding too is sometimes you get a great deal. If you're a buyer and you get it for a few bucks, you're thrilled you made like a better deal than you would have in an estate sale. But if you're the seller, sometimes it's great because if two or more people really fall in love with an item and start bidding against each other, they can really bring that to an incredible price. So then you not only are you getting a financial benefit out of letting that go, but you really get the sense that your items weren't just junk. You had some value there, and people were excited to pay you the value to be able to have that item over someone else.
Right. Yeah, the fight for it.
Yeah.
I love that. So for the items and stuff, for the auctions that you do, how often do you do auctions, and like where do you announce it? How do people know where they can find it?
We do at least 2 auctions a month.
Okay.
Sometimes 3 because we like to do a special jewelry auction once every 3 months where it's just jewelry only for those folks that we know just love to buy the jewelry and don't want to look at anything else.
Yeah.
We promote them across all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. We do advertising a lot of the different yard sale and estate sale platforms, Facebook Marketplace, estatesales.net and .org. And of course, Auction Ninja is a great community in itself. The platform itself just brings a lot of folks,
promotes people that
in to buy with us.
Gotcha.
So even if I don't necessarily have all of the followers shopping my show, if one of my competitors has a bunch of followers shopping their show, it's just as easy to click into my auction and watch my auction and their auction at the same time. So we like to say, the rising tide floats all boats in our business. So we're not competing with each other when we have auctions on the same day, which sometimes in a traditional setting, you would be competing for that time or those dollars they have available on that day. But we found when we have auctions on the same evening, we actually get more bidders in both of our auctions than when we try to go it alone. So the platform itself just has lots of folks that just sit on Auction Ninja and follow any auction that's in their area.
Well, it makes sense too, because if you're like in that mindset, if you're shopping for whatever particular item, then you're just like sitting and watching one auction and you're just kind of like watching the items, seeing if things go up or down, versus like you're able to like bounce back and forth and capture more things, which is beautiful.
Yeah, and if you've got one auction with 500 items, another auction with 500 items, maybe another with 500 items, you shop all the things you want, and then on Saturday you just make your little math and go boop, 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 and pick up everything. And we have some folks where that's become their Saturday tradition. Lots of older couples, they'll get up on a Saturday, go out to breakfast, and then they'll plan out their little route of just driving across the front lane to all of their pickup locations with all of their treasures.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. In the education side of what you do, right? So when you speak to different people, like what are the things that you want them to understand about like the items that they have and what they can do, like, if they're downsizing, or what the different scenarios are?
I would say that it's always good to consult a professional, because you never know what's popular in the marketplace right now.
Right. What you might think is trash is someone else's treasure.
100%. And with this younger generation, that's very much true. The things that were of value to the older generation maybe don't hold as much appeal, and vice versa.
Records.
Yeah. And we had one gentleman who had a brilliant collection of very worn in old truck and auto racing t-shirts. I mean, they were paper thin, and he tried to apologize that he'd forgotten they were in the closet, and I stopped him from grabbing them, and I said, don't touch them. And they sold for very good money, because right now vintage t-shirts that can't be faked are very popular. There's just a lot of trends that happen very quickly on TikTok and Instagram. There's a lot of influencers that will bring certain items to the forefront. And if you're not following those trends, I am. And I can let you know, hey, this is okay to go to the thrift store, but this is going to be the centerpiece in our auction, and let me show you why.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Now, do your daughters like follow the different trends?
Um,
You focus a lot on what they're into, or more?
they do. They give me a lot of advice on what's popular and not popular. They're very into the Dungeons and Dragons gaming community. So
My
when
son too. I don't
I've had a
understand
lot
it.
of
But go ahead.
it's computer and gaming things they give me advice on.
Yeah.
But mostly it's just the people that show up to pick up that are so excited to tell me about why they were so excited to purchase the items. And that for me is a lot of fun. I love hearing about why did you love this item? Why
Market
do you
research
want this item?
in real
And
time. Yeah.
It's almost always that nostalgia factor of my grandmother had the same thing and it reminds me of her, which is why things are cyclical. We've gone from that 70s boho aesthetic that was popular with women my age and younger because it's what they saw in their grandmother's homes.
Yeah.
And now everyone's crazy for the pastels and the country cottage and the Anchor Hawking goose jars, which, were on their way out when I was a kid. But if that's what you're nostalgic for, if that's what you remember your grandparents owning, those are the items that really create a lot of warmth and feeling and open wallets.
Yeah. I love that. It makes me want to go like shopping now. I don't need anything. I've been very minimalistic. I travel a lot and I want to do digital nomad life. So I try to have very little, but there are some pieces like I collected when I was younger, like dragons and Asian symbols and, like the large Buddhas and stuff. And a lot of those I found in, different yard sales and thrift stores, or there used to be like big flea markets in Florida. Flea markets are huge. So there would just be like people coming in and renting a booth and selling their items, kind of like what you were doing for that, which I do love. But so for when people are working with you now, is there situations that arrive where like maybe there's an item that you recognize could be very valuable and you would advise them to like, hey, let's do like a separate sale for this one? Or do you always, or we always have it all in one estate auction all at once?
We try to do it in one estate auction all at once. We definitely have some items that are of higher, better quality in the auctions, and we try to lead with those because, again, some shoppers are looking for that. They're looking for those tremendous bargains on quality items.
Yeah.
Some of our shoppers are resellers, like I used to be in booth situations, and they're looking for those kitschy designer decor things you can't find anywhere else. And some folks are eBay resellers and they're looking for those items they know are easy to ship with a good resale value. And some folks are just those traditional estate sale collectors, the yard sale haunters, the people that just love to go
and see what they might
things
find
that other people have.
Yeah,
and
right.
Sometimes
we
you
are
don't,
very nosy creatures.
You don't know what you want until you see that cool junk the other guy has in his garage.
Right.
So there's still that sense of adventure and exploration that if that's the part of yard sailing you enjoyed, it's still there for you in the auction as well.
Love that. Now, do you ever get like barn or like ranch items or equipment and things like that, like bigger items?
Sure. We've sold everything from very small loose stones, diamonds, all the way up to full-size cars. We've had the gamut of items and ride-on lawnmowers and anything you'd find in the home that now needs to be emptied is something we've probably had for sale.
I love that. I drive by houses all the time, like coming from LaPorte into town, and I'm like, oh, these items have not moved in at least the 3 months that I've been here. I was like, repurpose, find use for them. Someone else could use them, right?
Yeah.
So it is beautiful to see. So I know we're kind of getting close to the hour here. I feel like we can keep talking about this stuff all the time. I love all things like repurpose and everything. Is there any like words of wisdom that you would give to people that are, in a place where they may feel overwhelmed about, everything that they have and the clutter and where to start?
I would say whether it's your clutter or clutter that you've been left responsible for, it's okay to step away from it and not feel like you have to be responsible for every single bit. Um, it can be overwhelming physically and emotionally to take on the items of a loved one, or even to face the items that we've collected throughout our own lifetime. And it can be hard to detach the value from that emotion. Almost every single one of my clients by the end of the sale are all really regretful that they didn't call me sooner. I can help filter through and show you where the valuable items are. I can help make sure that the items that have an emotional component get passed on for a new life, and you can feel satisfied with that emotional component. But more than that, I can put a framework on things that might be emotionally triggering for you to deal with. And in the end, it's just, it's permission to let yourself let go of the responsibility that most people need. And I really love to be able to help people through that and leave them feeling really satisfied at the end, like they've made the right choice for themselves and the responsibility they had.
That's beautiful. We're going to send you everybody. Do you have an auction coming up that we want to mention before we...
Yes, we do. We have one coming up. It should be starting this Thursday.
Okay.
It was a gentleman who lived here in Fort Collins who was an avid motorcycle rider.
Ooh.
So there's lots of choice motorcycle, Harley Davidson t-shirts and accessories. He was a computer gaming guy, so there's probably 30 years of high-end computers, game systems, and accessories. And he was a model train guy as well. So he has a lifetime collection of model train parts, pieces, engines, and cars that are pretty envious. And so it's a guy's guy kind of auction, lots of garage items. So I invite you to come check it out.
Perfect. So it'll be Thursday, and you run them all for a week. So
yes,
from
goes
this Thursday the 28th to next Thursday, June 4th, I think.
Correct, yeah.
So, okay. All right, perfect. So if you guys are interested, definitely check out our website. Information is going to be there on how to get to that auction. If you have any comments or questions after you watch this and you want to ask it, feel free to put it in the comments. We'll monitor that over the next few days and get back to you guys. But definitely check out our website. I know I will. Because even if it's not for you, maybe you could find great gifts for your loved ones. Thank you so much for joining me, Heather. This was super fun.
That's great.
And I definitely want to walk around your warehouse. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next episode.